I'm MJ. Picture this. Heracles was the strongest man who ever lived. Period. He choked out the Nemean lion with his bare hands. He slaughtered the nine-headed Hydra. He stole the cattle of the sun. He literally wrestled death itself for the soul of a friend's wife. I mean, he's the most worshipped figure in all of Greek mythology. He has more vase paintings dedicated to him than any other character. But before he did any of that, Heracles murdered his own wife and his own children by his own hand, in a total fit of madness sent by the goddess Hera, simply because she hated him for being born. I'm AJ. Okay, hold on a second. The absolute greatest hero in Greek mythology, the guy with all the temples, the cults, the famous 12 labors, he's a wife murderer?
Yep. And honestly, that is the part nobody really wants to deal with. Because once you take that seriously, you have to ask the massive question that this entire explainer has to answer. Why on earth did a civilization that invented democracy, philosophy, and the rule of law immortalize heroes who, by their own laws, would absolutely have been hanged?
Well, here is the hard truth. A Greek hero is not someone who is good. Actually, the word hero doesn't mean good person at all to them. It means one set apart. A Greek hero is someone whose existence is simply too large for normal life to contain. And the sheer mess they leave behind, that's just the price the world pays for having them around at all. The Greeks weren't pretending otherwise. For these people, normal rules just do not apply. Right, so if these heroes aren't good people, what is the actual qualification? What makes someone a hero?
It boils down to two things. Number one, exceptional capacity. You have to be able to wrestle a lion or outrun a horse. Number two, a total willingness to spend everything for kleos. That means undying glory. It's the name spoken after death, the story told after the funeral. A true hero will trade their wife, their children, their own life, and even their own honor for that glory. And they know exactly what they are trading away in advance.
Wait, MJ, so he murders his entire family, and then Eurystheus just gives him these labors to do, and he actually pulls them all off?
Oh, absolutely, all 12. He beats the Hydra, where every time you chop off a head, 2 more pop right back up. He literally goes down into the underworld. He captures Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, and then he just walks out the front door. Hercules is the only mortal who survives a trip to the land of the dead and actually walks back out.
But look at how he finally dies. The most famous warrior in history dies totally by accident, poisoned. His second wife gives him a robe, thinking it's soaked in a love potion. Nope, it's actually venom from the Hydra. Heracles burns to death in unbearable pain on a pyre he had delayed himself. Not in some epic battle, by a domestic mistake. That right there is the ultimate model of a Greek hero. Shoveled cow dung, walked out of hell, died because of laundry.
Section 1. Achilles, the greatest warrior. Now, the Iliad opens with one single driving emotion. The very first word of the very first book of Western literature is anger, wrath. And what is Achilles so incredibly angry about? His commander, Agamemnon, took his captive slave woman, Theseus, away from him. Wait, seriously? That's it? The whole Trojan War almost ends in total disaster because some guy took his slave? Yep, Achilles straight up refuses to fight. The single greatest warrior in literature throws a tantrum. He sulks in his tent while his own army gets completely slaughtered outside. See, his mother, Theseus, offers him a very clear choice. You can have a long, quiet life or a short, glorious one. And he actively chooses glory. He knows for a fact he's going to die at Troy. He even knows the rough timing of it. But he stays anyway. And then, when his lover Patroclus gets killed by the Trojan prince Hector, Achilles' sheer grief becomes the driving engine for the rest of the epic. So Achilles hunts down and kills Hector right outside the city walls. And then, he ties Hector's body to the back of his chariot, and he drags it around the walls of Troy for 12 straight days. Hector's wife is watching, his father is watching, his infant son is right there watching. This is utter desecration, even by ancient Greek standards. You've got the greatest warrior in history doing literally the worst thing imaginable in the entire poem, right in front of the guy's family, and Homer forces you to watch all 12 days of it. Seriously, this is the hero? This absolute monster is the guy we are supposed to look up to and revere? Believe it or not, yes, this is the hero. Because just 2 books later, King Priam, Hector's father, sneaks into the Greek camp all by himself in the dead of night. He gets to Achilles' tent. He kneels down. He literally kisses the hands of the man who just slaughtered his son. He begs for the body back. And Achilles?
He breaks down and weeps with him in the dark. They actually sit and eat dinner together. He gives the body back. The Iliad ends right there at a grave. The brutal killer and the grieving father just finding peace for one single night. That is what a hero is to the Greeks, someone who has the capacity to hold both that horrific desecration and that profound weeping inside the exact same body. Which brings us to part 2, the dishonorable winners. Let's look at Theseus and Medea. Theseus is the great founding hero of Athens. He heads over to Crete to kill the terrifying Minotaur. Now, Princess Ariadne falls completely in love with him. She's the one who gives him the magic thread so he can actually find his way out of the maze. He kills the Minotaur, they escape together, but then on the voyage home, they stop at the island of Naxos. Ariadne falls asleep on the beach, and Theseus? He and his crew just pack up and sail away. He literally leaves her asleep on a deserted island. The founding hero of Athens is a guy who ditched the woman who saved his life just because she'd served her function, and the gods definitely punished him for it. He forgot to change his ship's sails from black back to white. His father, King Achilles, saw those black sails, thought his son was dead, and threw himself off a cliff into the sea. Theseus killed his own father through sheer stupid carelessness. And then you have Medea, a powerful princess and sorceress. She's the whole reason Jason was able to steal the golden fleece. But when Jason eventually abandons her down the line, she exacts the most monstrous revenge you could possibly imagine. She murders her own children, specifically just to destroy their father. And there it is. That's the pattern. Every single Greek hero pays the price. Heracles burns in total agony. Achilles gets shot in the heel by a complete coward. Theseus loses his father to suicide. There is no such thing as a Greek hero who gets to live a long, quiet life surrounded by a happy family. You get the glorious name, sure, but you pay with absolutely everything else.
So why take the deal? If you know it ends like that, why would anyone willingly sign up for this cursed, totally doomed bargain?
Because to the ancient Greeks, living a long life only to be totally forgotten was a fate way worse than a painful death. To them, the dead were just meaningless shadows fading away. Memory was the only real afterlife you could ever hope for. They took the deal because, honestly, the deal worked. I mean, look at us. We are still saying their names today. Achilles, Heracles, Theseus, Medea. 2,500 years later, and here we are.
Okay, I get that for ancient Greece, but why does this specific hero framework still matter for us today?
Because almost every major modern story we love runs on this exact same Greek tragedy pattern. Think about it. Tony Stark dies sacrificing himself to save everyone. That is literally the Achilles arc. Walter White, he has exceptional capacity, but he's got a fatal flaw, and he achieves his twisted version of glory at the absolute cost of his own family. Anakin Skywalker is basically Achilles in space. It's all just rage, doom, and massive betrayal.
Look, Sigmund Freud built the entire foundation of psychoanalysis on Oedipus, a hero who solved a massive riddle, accidentally killed his dad, and married his mom. Even now, in 2026, we constantly use the phrase Achilles' heel in everyday conversation. Deep down, we still fundamentally understand what the Greeks knew perfectly well. Exceptional people are inherently dangerous people. The bigger the gift, the bigger the bill. So let's recap this real quick. Heracles completely lost his mind and murdered his children. Achilles tied a corpse to a chariot and dragged it around a city for 12 days. Theseus just abandoned the woman who literally saved his life on a beach. Medea murdered her own kids. The bottom line, Greek heroes are not good people. They are just too much for the world to handle. And the Greeks were honest enough to carve exactly that truth into the side of a temple. Wow. Okay, so next time on The Explainer, we are covering the massive war that actually produced most of these guys. Achilles, Hector, Odysseus. The Trojan War. Come on, tell me it actually happened in real life.
You will have to tune in to The Next Explainer for the full story. But yes, the Trojan War was real. A German businessman actually went out and dug up the literal city. There really was a war, there really was a total destruction, and honestly, it is the most uncomfortable lesson any civilization has ever taught itself about human conflict.
That is going to be our huge series finale, but right now we've got one final loop question for you to think about. Knowing the brutal deal they had to make, which Greek hero would you absolutely refuse to be? Tell me who and tell me exactly why. We will be featuring the best answers in Explainer number 4.